Okay, yeah. Sorry, I was not live earlier, I think. So, yeah, I am live now. I see on my YouTube and on my streaming device. Yes, this is a member only live, so I will take the comments from the channel first. Any member coming live can ask their own questions. Anyone else can also watch these lives, but only members can ask questions. Uh, I am going through the questions on the channel since yesterday. It's a day ago till today. There are many questions. So the first one I have is yeah. So at what point? So dependents who are not allowed for the care worker visa, dependents will not be allowed from 11th March onwards, as everyone is aware of it. Uh, so the dependents can only join the care worker. Let's say you come to the UK as a care worker, you have to work in the UK at least for 5 years. At the end of 5 years, you apply for indefinite leave to remain, and after that, you can sponsor your family members, your partner, husband, wife, unmarried partner, civil partner, and any children who are under 18 years of age at that date. So that's how you sponsor the dependents after getting ILR. So after 5 years living in the UK on the skilled worker, the care worker area. So that is my answer to that question. Okay. And shout out to new member Kate Harrison. Thank you very much for joining the bronze membership. And I think yesterday also, earlier also someone joined. Trying to find Odie Frederick also joined, I think last week. Thank you very much for becoming a member. I encourage everyone who wants any questions answered, maybe take any level of membership that you prefer. You can also join these member only lives if you get, I think, bronze or some level of membership. So yeah, the options are there in the bio page in the channel descriptions. I will continue with the questions on the channel. If I receive a course after 11th of March, can I bring my dependents? If I receive a course after 11th March. If you receive a certificate of sponsorship after 11th of March for a care worker job code, either senior care worker or care worker, you cannot bring your dependents. So I think that is the question that you had asked. New subscriber here. Hello, new subscriber. How about the existing skilled worker? So we expect we receive 38,700 paycheck. Okay, so this is a common misconception or misunderstanding, I would say. The skilled worker salaries are increasing to 38,700, but that is only for new skilled worker visas that any sponsor wants to sponsor a skilled worker. They have to pay them minimum 38,700 or high, or the salary for the job code, whichever is higher. And that change comes into play from 4th of April. These are some questions that I'm getting on the channel, where individuals who are already working in the UK with whatever salary, 26,200 on the previous rules before the increase of the skilled worker happens to 38,700. Those individuals who are already working, their salaries are not going to increase just because the Home Office has changed the rules and the new skilled worker rules and the minimum salaries. So that is a private contract between you and your employer. Since your employer has sponsored you on whatever the salaries were at the time, I think for Mark John, your salary was 26,200, what you say. So it's not going to increase to 38,700 suddenly. Maybe when you try to extend your visa, yes, your employer may have to increase it to that 38,700 limit, or if you change employers, the new employer will have to pay as per the new requirement of 38,700, but your salaries will not change. That's what people are assuming. Existing skilled workers, so we expect to receive 38,700. No, existing skilled workers salaries will not be suddenly increased by their employers just because immigration rules are changing. So next question, when does the 5-year count start for ILR? Do we need to show tax slip for applying ILR? So this is a common question I'm asked many times, because there are many skilled workers, care workers, etc., who are not given hours. They have the visa but may not be working for the same sponsor or for the sponsor or working at all. So the question that you have asked is, Saloni, is do we need to show tax slip for applying for ILR? You don't have to show tax slip, but at the time of applying for indefinite leave to remain as a care worker or as a skilled worker, you have to provide a letter from your employer, your sponsor, stating that you are still required for the employment in future, number one. Number two, that you are paid at that appropriate rate, and latest payslip is to be given. Currently, those are the requirements. In future, they may increase. Home Office may change the rules and ask for more documentation. But as of today, they need a letter from employer confirming that you are required for the employment in future, in the foreseeable future. That's how the statement should be. Number one. Number two, they need latest payslip issued within 31 calendar days from today. If you're submitting it today, within 31 calendar days, a payslip issued, and your bank statement showing that the payment is gone into your account. That bank statement should also be dated within 31 calendar days. So those are the requirements now. So you don't need to, you will have to show the tax slip or pay slip, whatever you call it, at least the latest one. That is what is the requirement as of today. That minimum requirement will definitely be there. There may be more requirements also. You also put your NI number on the application form, and on the payslip also there is your national insurance number. Home Office may do a check and see if you have been paid the salaries or not. That may happen in future because there are a lot of frauds and all of these happening where skilled worker visas are sold to people but jobs are not given to them, work is not given, whatever is the issue. So Home Office may come up with some other things where they go and check your NI number and try to see if you have been paid the salaries that you were promised for the 5-year period, for the last 1-year period, whatever. They may come to that in future. I don't know about the future, but currently you need the latest pay slip, latest bank statement showing the payment, and a letter from employer confirming that you are required for the employment for the foreseeable future. Okay, UK care workers immigration. Next question, you cannot apply for a visa without cost. Without cost number, you will be unable to go further visa application. Yeah, this is correct. This is a comment that someone has made, that when you fill up the online form, you need the cost reference number. Without that, you cannot even go further. I understand that. But yeah, we lawyers, we have other ways. We put a dummy reference, we put a used cost number, and then we explain in our covering letter. So there are different ways how without a cost applications were being made till date. But yeah, if you're trying to, if they see that the application is just filed with a dummy reference for the sake of circumventing the immigration rules, trying to file the application now and to get the benefit of the care worker changes not to be applied to you, or the skilled worker increase of salaries not to be applied, Home Office may not consider those applications valid. So there are other reasons where visas are expiring and all that. We do lawyers, we put a dummy reference and we continue and we explain in our legal representations. But yeah, your comment is right. You cannot save the application and submit it without a cost reference number. What about dependents who are already in the UK? Will after 11th March they are allowed to stay in the UK if they change visa to carer after 11th March? Okay, so there are two parts to your question. Ishan Iyer, okay. What about dependent who are already in the UK? So if the main applicant is on a skilled worker visa, whether care worker job code or not, and the dependents are also along with the main applicant in the UK, you don't have to worry, the changes don't apply to you. Okay, so even if you are working in the care worker job codes 6145 or 6146, the changes of not dependents not allowed will not affect the dependents which are already in the UK and the main applicant is on the skilled worker visa. So they are allowed to stay in the UK, they are allowed to stay in the UK. They change visa to carer. So yes, so if you are not, so this is the other part I'm just trying to interpret. If they change visa to carer after 11th March. So I will try to take two examples here. So let's say you are a student or you are a PSW holder and you are along with your dependent. Main applicant is a student or main is a PSW holder and you have a dependent, let's say your partner. For example, I'll just take an example here to answer your question. If the main applicant switches to a care worker visa after the change happens where dependents are not allowed, then the dependent will not be able to continue living in the UK. Just because the dependent is living in the UK does not mean that they will be allowed to continue living in the UK, because the main applicant will be going into the care worker job codes where dependents are not allowed. So the dependent will have to leave the UK. That is one example. Second example, if they change visa to carer after 11th of March. Second example would be you are on a skilled worker visa. Let's say you have some other job code. I'm just taking an example, business development manager 12345 job code. then you change to one of those job codes 6145 or 6146 on or after 11th of March, when the dependents will not be allowed, then thereafter. Even after that, the dependents cannot continue to live. If you already had dependents on the skilled worker visa with another job code, you change to a skilled worker visa with these job codes, with the care worker job codes, the dependents will not be able to continue living in the UK. So that's how I can explain it. Thank you, Suraj Dawn. Okay. Next question, is dependent allowed if main applicant apply visa before 11th of March? Visa should be granted before 11th of March. This most of the people is looking for. Yes. So this is also a common question. Is dependent allowed main applicant apply for visa? So if you make a valid application, then Home Office will be fine. So let's say you make a valid application, the skilled worker application is valid, which means you have paid the fees, you filled up the form, you paid the IHS, and the cost reference is also valid. That is, you have an approved, allocated and assigned, technically speaking, allocated and assigned certificate of sponsorship, whether defined certificate or undefined certificate. Let's say everything is in order and you filed it latest by 10th of March, you should be fine, dependents will be allowed. Doesn't matter when they decide on the application, whether decide in April, May, whatever the date is. If you made a valid application with a valid certificate of sponsorship on or before 10th of March, 11th of March the rules change. So if you make it on or before 10th of March, then you should be fine. Doesn't matter when the Home Office decides. That has always been the case. It's always the date of application of a valid application. Okay. Next question I have from Rajita Nair. Why some people who apply later get their visa while some who apply earlier than them have to wait? Is there no streamline? Yeah, so about the, I will split it in two parts. One is if you are looking at a defined certificate of sponsorship request that has been applied, some of them are getting earlier, some are getting late. Usually Home Office has what they have told us. There are no live questions. I'll take the channel questions only. What the Home Office has told us is that they have split the defined costs, because I know I have applied for several individuals who are on different fields, senior levels, and all of that. I've got it on the second day also decauses. It's not a big deal. It's not that all decauses are like that. Home Office has broken that into different parts, like red channel, green channel, whatever you can call it. They've broken the whole decause area. Anywhere there is a risk, so the most riskiest one and the worst situation is of the carers decauses 6145, 6146. Home Office is taking a lot of time. They are investigating the sponsor, they are investigating the current employees the sponsor has, they are sending them a long questionnaire. So the queue is bifurcated, and whichever ones are straightforward, which means salaries are reasonable, sponsor has good compliance record, they don't have any issues on anything that they want to investigate on, that is perfectly fine. They may approve it within 24 hours also. I have got it several times in 24 hours, in 3-4 days or so, because it's for other types of job codes. But they have split them, and that's the reason you see that anywhere that where the salaries are under 30,000 or so, or even 35,000 for that matter, or even 40,000, I have heard from people where those are the ones they are investigating them carefully. Care worker job codes, builders and these building contractors, all these job codes, any hospitality sector and all of those job codes, many of them are there. These are just some examples. Home Office usually bifurcates them, takes the easy ones, they are deciding them quickly, where they don't have to investigate, they are straight away approving it. If they are happy with everything, within 2 minutes they can approve a decause. It's not a big deal. They have to look at the details and say a yes and no to that. But then if they decide to ask questions, they start from there. That's the reason some decauses are coming earlier and some are taking a lot of time. Next question. So this is a members only live, so only members can ask questions. Just to update, I know there are several people viewing this live, so I'm taking the questions on the channel and I will answer them. So if you want to ask a question on such lives, you may have to become a member. You can look into our channel bio page. It will give you more information about it. Okay, next question. Rajita is done. Care workers, kindly inform my brother in the UK. He sends sponsors visa, manager of restaurant. Okay, so the question is your brother is sponsoring you for a manager of a restaurant job code. It is definitely not 6145, 6146. Your question is, can you also bring your wife after 11th March? Yes, you can. Other skilled workers are not affected. Only these two job codes are getting affected. So if you are joining as a restaurant manager, certainly it should be a different job code. You can bring your wife. Next question. Hello sir, if a care home employer would like to offer 38,700 salary, then a caregiver can bring their dependent to UK after 11 March. Okay, so this is another confusion that I'm getting on the comments questions that individuals have. The restriction of not allowing a dependent, husband, wife, partner, or children under 18 is on the job code. So 6145 job code, care workers and yeah, house carers, what they call it, care workers and senior care workers 6146. It's on the job code. Doesn't matter what salaries they are paying you. So just because if your employer decides to pay you 38,700 to become a carer, you cannot sponsor your dependents because of that, because the job codes have the restriction, not your salary. So just to clarify, are they stopped taking dependents with care workers? Yes, they have stopped taking dependents for care workers from 11th of March 2024. Okay, next question I have. Okay, what if somebody's 6 months cash savings periods ends in 26th of March? Okay, the question is on the spouse visa. So that is the other change. The rules will be published shortly. So the first one, the dependent of care workers rules have been published. I've made the video and that is the one that is going around quite virally. So most of the questions are around that. So this is the question on the second change that is happening, that is going to happen on 11th of April. So the dependent of care workers changes are coming on 11th of March. The next change will come on 11th of April. That is not on skilled worker, that is on the financial requirement of 18,600 to sponsor a spouse, partner, family member under the family route appendix FM. For settled people, British people, is going to increase to 29,000. This is the question on that. So you have a question, you have 6 months of cash savings, so you can meet it by cash savings also. In 26th of March, pay NHS visa fee. So if you submit the application on 27th of March, that is your question. The appointment doesn't matter. You are asking whether you should get the appointment before the change happens. You don't have to worry. The rules will change on 11th of April 2024, where the minimum financial requirement is going to increase from 18,600 current to 29,000 to sponsor a family member. And if you do submit your application, pay the IHS, pay the visa fees on 27th of March and make a valid application, that should be fine. Kate Harrison, yeah, I will answer your question. 1 minute, I'll complete this. How can I be sure? Okay, you don't have to worry about when your biometric appointment is. You have up to 240 days to attend your biometric. I know no one delays their biometrics up to that. But the appointment is not a matter, it's just a validity step. The date of application matters when you pay the visa fees. So first you pay the IHS fees and then the visa fees. If that is done before 11th of April 2024, then you still come under the 18,600 financial requirement, and you are submitting on 27. You should be fine. It doesn't matter when you are attending the appointment with TLS or VFS. Yeah, so that is the answer. So Kate Harrison, thank you for becoming a member. And the question is, can a DCOS be changed for amended from annual salary to hourly wage on it has been after it has been assigned? Just a minute. Once it has been assigned via sponsors note, can a DCOS be changed? So let me have a think on that. So if you go on the DCOS, you've already changed it, but you applied it on the basis of that salary. Amended annual salary to an hourly wage. Hourly wage should be the minimum salaries. So Kate Harrison, You may be able to amend it, but the point is the DCOS was based on the salary. So whatever salaries you had promised annually, but make sure it has to meet the rules, even if it is hourly. So make sure you do the numbers properly, whatever is your job code, how many hours the employee is going to work, the net salary that the employee has to get at the end of annually should be the same or higher. So that is very, very important. I don't think the frequency, how you are paying the salaries, whether it's an annual salary divided by 12 months and every month you pay a specific amount, or you pay it by the hour. What the home office cares is when they do a total of the working week, say for example, if you are paying for 52 weeks into 37.5 hours and whatever the salary is, the total for the annualized total should be the same or higher. Then it would be fine. I don't think that should be an issue. So remember that you may be able to do that, but be careful that the numbers have to match. If it goes down, they will refuse the skilled worker application when they see the notes, when they are considering the skilled worker application. So I think the frequency of salary does not matter. Mainly they care is the total annualized salary should be the same or higher. So that's what my suggestion would be. Preferably speak to an immigration lawyer and do the numbers correctly. That's my suggestion. Okay. If you have a follow-up question, yeah. Thank you, Kate. Yeah. Okay, so the next question on the channel is Kate, one more point. If you're still live, just remember. So make sure you explain it in the covering letter or something with the skilled worker application. It will be helpful to the caseworker why you are changing, and make sure you refer them to the notes that you have changed from annualized salary to per hour salary. However, the numbers are the same. At least write a paragraph about this and give the caseworkers some help with deciding it positively. Usually if you have lawyers, let them know and they should do it. If we were doing it, we would have definitely informed the caseworker upfront at the time of skilled worker application, stating the facts of the case, saying this was the annualized salary when we applied for the DCOS. However, this is the change. We have made this change by putting a note on the system. The total salary, annualized salary still remains the same. Below are the calculations. Whatever are your calculations, just help the caseworker with that. That will be helpful. Or you can write a covering letter if you don't have a legal representative or something. So the next question, I'm waiting for my costs, as agent said to me, costs will be updated and then I take the appointment for biometric. Yeah, many people are waiting for the costs, I understand. I want to come with baby girl and husband as daughter can't live without me. Yeah, I do understand many of you want to become the dependents, but the rules are the rules. I don't make the rules. I can only make the best interpretation of things and tell you and help you with making your life's decisions. So I understand you do want to bring your dependents, but if you are making an application after the change is implemented 11th of March or thereafter, then you will be stuck with the new rules. Can you help me with the care worker visa? I have a certificate from Ireland. Experience. Sorry, we don't provide sponsors. So just to clarify, anyways, this question has come. We don't provide sponsors. We don't sell care worker visas. We don't get into all of that. We purely act as immigration lawyers. We do represent lawyers, employers, individuals, everyone. We advise on the matters. But yeah, we don't get into getting sponsorship for people or anything like that. So next question. Live guidance. If your salary is listed on the defined cause as 26,650 annually, okay, interesting. Salary calculation. You are working over 41 weeks. Does your salary need to be prorated 28,655 to qualify for skilled worker visa? Can the assigned cause be amended by sponsor's note? Assigned cause. Okay, so question is the course is already assigned with a particular salary, that is 26,650. You are working 41 hours per week. So your question is, does your salary need to be prorated? Yeah, whatever the pro rata salaries have to be paid. Uh, Whatever the salary was based on, let's say if your salary was based on 37.5 hours working week, you need to prorate it. 26,650 divided by 37.5 into 41 into 52, whatever that is the formula that you will do, and put that salary for the costs. You state that it's already assigned, which means it is already approved with that salary, only the hours are changing. So but the hours are changing after it is being allocated to you. Thank you, Kate. Thank you very much. Thank you for being a member. Yeah, and so yes, you need to prorate the salaries. That is my question. At what stage? Yeah, I'm not sure whether you already assigned the costs. You have, it's approved, I'm pretty sure. If so, can the assigned costs, the cost is also assigned, be amended to sponsors note? I'm not sure why the salaries and the hours are suddenly changing. So that is something that Home Office would be curious. But if that is the thing, if that is happening before the skilled worker application is filed, you can make the amendments to the by a sponsor note, since you cannot amend the certificate of sponsorship once it is assigned. So the defined certificate is approved, allocated to the sponsor, then the sponsor has assigned it to the applicant, and now you want to make the changes to the hours and the salary. Yes, it can be, all the changes can be put by a sponsor note. Make sure in the same way as I answered for Kate's answer before, changing any details on the DCOS after it is assigned or after it is approved, especially by Home Office, you can put it in the comments and do it. But it is always a good practice to give a heads up to the caseworker who is going to look at the skilled worker application as to whatever the change is, saying we have made the following change in the notes. The hours have been changed from 37.5 to 41 hours, hence the prorated salary has been increased from this to this. This has been noted in the sponsor note. Please consider this for the application and fill the application also accordingly. On the skilled worker, you should could put the correct salaries, whatever are the changed ones. The lawyer should do all of that if you have a lawyer, or at least write a covering letter or statement explaining this. Okay, next is UK care worker changes immigration rules published. I'm in the UK on PSW visa. If I want to switch from PSW to care worker after 11th March, can my dependent be able to stay with me? No, that is the example that I have taken. So you are on a PSW visa, you have a dependent along with you. If you switch from PSW to a care worker visa, those two job codes, one of those two, after the on or after 11th of March, your dependent cannot continue to live in the UK. They won't be able to switch and become your dependent on the care worker visa. So anyone, the way the Home Office has interpreted, they are very clear on this. They have stated is anyone who enters the care worker area on or after 11th of March will not be able to sponsor dependents. It doesn't matter, it is irrelevant whether the dependent is already sitting in the UK or they are outside in their home country. That is not relevant to the matter. Okay. Next is a comment from someone, can I switch to skilled worker visa, fail your course of study? Yes, you can switch even if you, so this was the, I think this is an old video from maybe 3-4 months back, November or so, where there was a confusion as to whether failed students can switch or not. Now it has been tested by many students, even we have tested, and students, even if they have failed, they should have completed the course of study, they should have given all the modules, attended the university or whatever, and they should have completed the course of study, then they can still switch to the skilled worker visa. Yeah, successful completion is not a matter, even unsuccessfully completed course is fine, but the course has to be completed. So can UK restaurant sponsor chefs on a UK on a skilled worker? Okay. Next question is, I came to the UK via sponsorship from a restaurant which provides low salary to me, and I want to change my job right now. Yeah, so Nishal's question is, he came to the UK with a sponsored visa, skilled worker visa from a restaurant which provides a low salary to him. I want to change my job right now. How can I do that? You have to look for another employer who is willing to give you sponsorship. Either they have already have sponsor license or they are willing to apply for a sponsor license, give you an undefined certificate of sponsorship and switch your visa to theirs. So you have to make a new application. They have to give you a certificate of sponsorship reference number. You can look at other videos on the channel. What is a defined certificate of sponsorship, what is undefined, all the differences, everything is explained. There are many videos on that. How to get a sponsor license, what documentation is required, there are videos on that also. Search for the term sponsor license, certificate of sponsorship, DCOS, UCOS, you will find all those ones on the channel. And yeah, so certificate of sponsorship, you apply for the skilled worker visa, pay the new IHS as per the new requirements, put the reference on your application, file the visa and get the visa and start working for your new employer. That's how you do it. Change of employer. Next question. So Maha Siddiqui, is it possible to bring dependents if I have skilled worker visa? Also, what are the documents? What are the documents required? Okay, just a minute. Documents required in the news. 29,000. The new. Okay, so the question is, I think you're confused between the changes to the financial requirement of spouse or partner visa of settled people. That's a different thing, 29,000, and the skilled worker salary increases, that's a different thing. So let me clarify this. So your question is it possible to bring dependent if I have skilled worker visa? So if you have a skilled worker visa other than the care worker job codes 6145 or 6146, then you can still sponsor the dependent. Number one, documents required, you can find either on the government website, or I think there may be some videos on dependents documents or something on our channel. You can search for dependents or PBS dependents list of documents, you may find that, or on our website there should be something. So usually the documents you will need your marriage certificate or cohabitation proof of last 2 years if it's unmarried partners, no English language, maintenance requirement, there may be some maintenance calculation, there is a financial requirement, detailed video of PBS dependents on the channel that explains everything. Student dependents, skilled worker dependents, you can watch that one. How much maintenance you would need for your spouse, for your husband, wife, partner. If your salary is 29,000, so 29,000 or 2,900, I don't know what that number is, and 29,000 is the salary threshold, but that doesn't apply to skilled workers. It is for Appendix FM, for family members of people who are settled in the UK or British people. So that doesn't apply to you. So summarily, if you are on a skilled worker visa, you can sponsor your dependent, that is fine. If you are not in one of those care worker job codes 6145 or 6146 on or after 11th of March, as of today, every skilled worker can sponsor their dependents. So okay. Okay, thank you. After applied for graduate, I received reject for my application of skilled worker. Is that to be risk to me? But I already applied for graduate before the rejection of skilled worker. Okay, this is a confusing question. I'm trying to understand it. So the question is to the video that I have. Can I change my skilled worker application to graduate route while on? Okay. So you applied for the graduate visa. You received rejection for your application of the skilled worker. Is that risk to me? But I already applied for graduate before the rejection of the skilled worker. Okay, yeah. So that is the video that I had. So if let's say after you complete your student period, you want to switch to, you directly decide to go to skilled worker visa instead of applying for the graduate route, for whatever reasons you get a sponsor. This is a common problem that happens. I'll also highlight that one. Sometimes you make a wrong decision. You only get into a skilled worker visa if you think that you will be with the sponsor for a 5-year period. If you're trying, think, this is just my advice to anyone who's watching. If you are on a student visa and I know everyone wants to get onto the skilled worker visa, that is your goal, that is perfectly fine. because all your counts of ILR don't start from student or graduate route or all. So, but before getting onto any skilled worker visa with any sponsor, always remember, think of it. If you have the PSW option, the graduate route option, you take that. Unless only going to skilled worker directly from a student if you think that you will be with that sponsor for the next 5-year period. If you are not sure, ask that question to yourself. That is what you should do, introspection. Ask the question to yourself, will I be able to, will this sponsor continue to hire me for the next 5 years or not? That is the first question you need to ask. If the answer is yes, yes, go for the skilled worker visa. If the answer is no, go for the graduate route visa. Doesn't matter what happens in future, but that is the best way to decide whether you should go for a skilled worker or not. Now the question is, many times individuals apply for a skilled worker visa. Before getting a decision, there is some change. Whatever happens, they change their mind, or whatever, their job offer is withdrawn or anything. If a decision is not made, that is the video that I had made, where you can switch, you can vary the application, any application rather. So if you file for a skilled worker application from being a student directly and not apply for the graduate, you decide, then you change your mind, oh, I don't want skilled worker, I want graduate route. You can vary the application before a decision has been made. That is very important. But in your case, what has happened, I see, is you did this exactly. You applied for the skilled worker visa, then before a decision was received, you applied for the skilled worker, but the caseworker anyways went ahead and decided the skilled worker application and refused it. I think that is what has happened. So yeah, that is a mistake. I know in the home office, the way the applications go, they go to different teams, different places. So the withdrawal may have not flown through. You may file for admin review of that refusal and tell them that, sorry, I had already varied this application. Look at this reference number. I had filed this before you send me this rejection, and that will usually be sorted. I know these mistakes do happen. This is more procedural. This is not immigration rules. I understand, because your first application is already in the queue. That may go to a decision maker quickly than your second one. So it is a common problem that may happen, but that will be sorted because you have met the immigration rules. You have asked for variation of your application before a decision was made. But if a decision is made on the skilled worker application and it is refused, then you cannot go back to graduate, because it just complicates matters, because then you go into a period where it is refused, then you may not, there is no returning back to graduate route. After that, skilled worker is refused. The only returning back to graduate route and changing your mind from applying for a skilled worker visa is to vary the skilled worker application to graduate route. So preferably in such situations, go through legal representatives, whichever lawyer you go to. Yeah, that's fine, but it is better to file through legal reps. We usually follow up with them. We tell the one team that don't do this, we tell the other team, so we keep on still mistakes happen, I have seen that, but still we inform the right team saying we don't want this one, we don't want that one, and all of that. So usually we proactively tell the teams what to do and what not to do. So it helps them also, it saves them time, it saves us time, it saves everyone time. So next question. 56 people live, I see. Anyone who is watching, if you do like this video, any other videos, whatever detailed videos are there are many videos. You can search on the channel, so you can subscribe to the channel. Please do subscribe, like this live or any other videos that you like. If there are many list of documents for many of them, spouse visas, skilled worker visas, I don't know whether student visas, but there are many sticky areas that I have talked about. Absences for skilled worker, ILR, naturalization absences, many videos are there. If you just search for the term naturalization, skilled worker, student visa, graduate route, something will come up. There may be a short, there may be something else. It will help you with your applications. It will save you some time, some money. Many times it will help you make decisions. So do subscribe to our channel. I will continue with the questions now. Okay, and also consider becoming a member. If you have any questions, you can become a member, ask the questions. The lowest level of membership, I think bronze, silver, whatever that is, just see in the channel information. It allows me, you can ask questions, and I'll make a short or something and answer your question as soon as possible. It has some timelines. It will explain within 24 hours or so, or reply by comment. There are different other levels of memberships. There are levels of membership where you can join the live, like Kate Harrison, just she joined, subscribed, and then she became a member and she asked the question and her problem is sorted. So okay, next question. Do they ban? Okay, next question is about something else. Do they ban if they detain or come back UK with new application? If you go voluntary, before which date they call will be better to come back with new application? How much more gap should be given for new application? The question is about someone is detained, then they are. The question is about the ban period. Yeah, there are several questions on shorts I have made on ban period. So usually, if you leave the UK, if you are detained and you say tell them sorry, I want to go back to my home country, whatever that is, and you don't make home office pay for your ticket, which is called as deportation or administrative removal, whatever. It may not be deportation, but it is administrative removal. Everyone calls it deportation, but usually when the government is paying for your ticket and all of that, don't do that. The ban periods are very, very long. It just complicates matters. Rather, if you have some money, get a loan or something. If you are thinking of coming back to the UK, just pay for your own ticket. Use your credit card or take any loans or something, but leave the UK. If you are planning to come back, definitely pay for your own ticket. Give them a copy of the ticket. They give you the passport at the airport or they take you there. But if you have paid, then there is not much. The ban period will be very less if you have overstayed. It's just 12 months if you voluntarily leave the UK at your own expense. So I'll repeat that. If you leave the UK, if you are detained or even if you're not detained, you overstayed, you decide to go back to your home country, you are planning a future application, whatever that is, spouse visa, parent visa, skilled worker, student, anything and everything, you will have a ban period of 12 months only. On the spouse visa and family route, there is no ban period also. I have applied many times where people have overstayed for 7 years, 10 years. They have a genuine relationship. They go back and I have applied and got back them even with the priority. I know Home Office says don't apply priority. I've also done priority and got it in 30 working days for but yeah, at least you can do a standard one if you are doing it yourself. So yes, leave the UK, pay for your own ticket if you are planning for anything. If you are doing any other application than a family route application, spouse, husband, parent or something, then you have a 12-month ban period or from the voluntary return date, from the date you return voluntarily. So yes, how much more gap? If you leave voluntarily and if you're making not a family route application, then 12 months is the ban period you have to wait for. The next question is skilled worker visa. Next question. I am on a dependent visa. I have a call after 10 minutes. I will be live for about 12 more minutes, I think. Yeah. So skilled worker is expiring. I'm on a dependent visa where my wife is a student. I have got sponsorship. It is delayed from UKVI. Shit. UKVI. So Veera Kumar, you are on a dependent visa. Wife was the main applicant student. I think her visa is curtailed and she got 2 months of say cancelled student visa given 2 months, 60 days. And whatever. So you are the dependent, you are trying to switch onto a skilled worker visa. You got sponsorship. You say, I don't know whether, what do you mean by sponsorship? You got a undefined course approved or you applied for a skilled worker visa. So whatever that is, so I will take both the cases. If you don't have a undefined certificate of sponsorship, if your employer is waiting, you may try maybe applying for a skilled worker visa, but are dependents allowed? Let me think. So if your wife will anyways not be able to continue living in the UK, she will have to do an entry clearance application. Where if you switch to the skilled worker, your application is pending at whatever stage, you will have to file the skilled worker application before your leave expires. Your leave will expire on the same day as your wife's cancellation date. That's a 60-day period. Both of your leaves will end, not later than that. So you should apply for the skilled worker visa. Ask the maybe get it done through legal representatives, lawyers, and all. Ask the Home Office to hold, and then whenever you get the UCOS, then you can apply. So there are different ways of expediting the undefined cause also. If it is urgent in your case, I understand. Maybe talk to the lawyers, see if they can get a priority service if you have not got the undefined cause. If you have got the undefined cause, then you're sorted. You can apply for the skilled worker visa. Your wife will have to go outside the UK, make an application for entry clearance as your skilled worker dependent, as your dependent. So that is my answer. Okay. Next question, can I switch? Can a person apply for a skilled worker visa, living in UK and having a receipt but course is completed? Okay, or need to go back and apply for home country? Apply for skilled worker. Yeah, so if you have not successfully completed your course of study, so you are doing a resit, that's how I understand it. Evergreen 5061. Can a person apply for a skilled worker visa living in the UK? Yes, you can. Since you have completed your course of study, I know you have not completed it successfully, you can still complete because your course end date has passed. You have attended the course. I know you have a resit and you have to pass whatever modules or whatever that is. You can still switch from inside the UK. You don't have to go back to your home country because you have done everything that you were required to do. Failing, being unsuccessful is not an issue. The receipt is not relevant, yeah, for the skilled worker application. I know you are doing that. I have a DCOS for a skilled worker. Next question is visa. Can I work for more than one location if there is only one work address listed on the DCOS and the locations are separate facilities with separate sponsor licenses? Yeah, so the question is, this is more with respect to sponsor licensing and how the employer is assigning. This is very, very important. Home office is not happy where people are working from different locations. Okay, Kate, I will take your question. I'm going to end this live. So this is the last. On skilled worker visa, can I work for more than one location? More than. So I think that is your same question. There is only one work address listed on the DCOS. Locations are separate, facilities separate, sponsor licenses. I don't think you can do that. Your employer really needs to take a proper legal advice on their sponsor license. They may have to apply for separate license. Why do they have separate licenses? I'm not sure. There are different reasons why employers have it. Sponsor checked yes for client contract. I'm not sure if this is client contract is completely different thing. That is, for example, we do IT companies also where the person is sitting at a client's location. That is where the client contract, we give the client's contract details also. It's a 1-year contract, extendable, a lot of things. That is not relevant to the work addresses. If the main employer has different work addresses, the locations are separate facilities with separate sponsor licenses, I don't think you can physically sit and work there unless those, let's say your main address is A, which the employer has put on the license, which is your main office address, and B and C are other locations. They may have their sponsor license, that is not relevant. But if B and C are also listed on the sponsor license as branch locations or something, some way they have to be reported. And also they can make a separate reporting if your application is already approved or whatever stage. They have to make a reporting through the sponsor management system telling the home office that the work location of Kate Harrison will be A, B and C. They have to inform the home office. So be mindful of that. This is a compliance breach. Home office is not happy with such things when they come for all these audits and all. So that is my answer. I know your employer may not be complying, but that's what ideally they should tell. They should tell the home office, we also have B and C branches. They may have their licenses, that's not relevant. But if your employee is going to sit, A's employee is going to sit at B and C, that should be noted on the sponsor license as a branch or whatever address they call it, office address, office ABC. And even your costs they have to report through the through the sponsor management system by putting your reference number. They have to report saying Kate will also be working from A, B and C locations. Basically that's my answer. So for now I will end this live. I have a call now. Thank you very much anyone who joined. This will be saved, and do subscribe to the channel. Consider any memberships that you wish to, and thank you very much. Watch all the videos on the channel. There are many videos, etc, etc. List of documents, why you don't need an accommodation report, don't waste money on accommodation reports. I don't know what all things, whatever issues I come up, whenever people try to advertise anything to me. I got that accommodation report email from some estate agents yesterday, and last time also I made that saying you don't need that. So that's the reason I have to make all these videos when people try to sell unnecessary things to you. When people were selling skilled worker visas, I made the videos, don't buy skilled worker visas and all, and I explained whatever the problems would be. So yeah, any challenges that I face from, either I come to know from any channel members, any anyone who is any viewers, or through any medium. Even if I get even a spam email, I try to see how I can try and educate everyone on that. And thank you very much everyone for joining, and I will be live shortly soon.